everybody. Welcome back to the Talkin Hoops, the Rapheal Davis podcast. First, before we get going, want to give a shout out to Purdue, shout out to campus, shout out to everyone for the hospitality this past weekend. We brought our Crew Life organization, brought 70 kids to Purdue on Friday, and then brought another 15 to Purdue on Saturday. And we had a great weekend of learning engineering, STEM, sales, management, getting to hang out with PJ and the team, the volleyball team, watch the football game, meet some of the women's basketball players. It was real cool. But so I just want to send a thank you to everybody that helped support us out there and just kind of make this trip possible. But today we got my favorite guest, my favorite college coach on the podcast to kind of get us going before the exhibition game this weekend. Purdue is heading out to Creighton to take on what's the Creighton Blue Jays to take on the Blue Jays? Yeah. Okay. But no, without further ado, Coach PJ Thompson, assistant coach PJ Thompson. Now I want to start there. What's that like having a full off season of now being an official assistant?
It was definitely different. Definitely different. In the past, I've kind of used the times they were gone to get a lot of stuff done, from an offensive standpoint. So film with guys, if we have extra hours during the week, like say we had an extra hour left over from our 4 hours, I would try to split that up and do multiple workouts with guys, all that stuff. So now I was gone a lot less. So a lot of it was like sending them video instead of meeting in person, sending them a lot more video over stuff. Obviously, having Sasha here helps a lot too, just because when I was gone, he was here. So if guys wanted to come up and see him, they were able to. And just like myself, he knows the offense at a high level. So that was different. I love being around. Those free weekends are now gone, but building relationships with kids and seeing these young kids when they're in high school, and these will be some of the names I'll remember, in a few years when hopefully they can make it to the NBA. That's pretty cool.
Is recruiting and being on the circuit, being on the road, is it what you thought it would be coming into coaching?
Yeah, it's fun on the road, man. It's kind of like a social setting, to be honest. A lot of times, like you're seeing former coaches, and you're at the games, but a lot of times, man, people ain't really evaluating to that extent. A lot of
I
times,
get what you're
people
saying.
are, seeing former faces, and you're watching the game, but you're having conversations with people, maybe getting new ideas, seeing how the game is played, differently at their school, and seeing what you can kind of take and implement at your school. And obviously, you watch the kids too. I think that's awesome. Like for me, I grew up in AAU basketball, so us playing 4 games and a day and 3 games in a day, and that's what we grew up on. So for me, that was the easy part. Watching good players, seeing what fits. I've been at Purdue a long time, and so knowing what your boss wants, knowing what works at Purdue, that was the easy part of the transition, just because you've been around it so long, like
Mm-hmm.
10 years worth or whatever. So that was the easy part. It was new though. Recruiting never stops. It's a daily thing. Whether it's your high school coach, their high school coach, whether it's the parents, the kid, maybe the uncle, AAU coach. Like there's a lot of different boxes to check and build relationships with. And someone that's young in the business like me, I don't have 20 years worth of connections. But I do have the Purdue brand and the Purdue name behind it. And that goes a long way. But for me, just kind of going the extra mile, trying to build relationships with people, meet new people, to help myself and Purdue for the future.
Yeah, no, having the brands too, especially coming off a Final Four, it's gotta give you a little bit of a leg up. I gotta ask B about that because I coach B. I can only imagine what it was like going to recruit that year you came in
Yeah.
compared to going to recruit right now. I bet it's like a whole different when you wear the Purdue hoodie, it's a whole different thought process now. But I heard you say something about you saying you know what the Purdue guy is, you know what your boss wants. And
Mhm.
Coach Payne talks about it a lot where he's not looking at stars, he's looking to get the right guy, he's looking to get the right fit. What is that guy? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, like you want guys that, value education. Coach always talks about having, I'm sure you've heard him say it 1,000 times, having a dream through education and a dream through basketball. Like that's something that means a lot. because the Purdue education can go a long way. You know, it can knock doors down. As a kid, you never really thought that you would have the opportunity to be in those doors. Um, and also just having that understanding that you're gonna be a non-basketball player in life a lot longer than you are a basketball player. So while you still have that dream of playing in the NBA, playing in Europe for 10 years, you gotta also understand that there's more to it, you know. And we tell guys we want them to play for as long as they can. When you sign to Purdue, we promise you we'd be there for life after basketball. So we're there to help you then, but we want guys to play as long as they can while understanding that, like, you know, the school part's important too. And so I think that first and foremost, guys that are skilled, you know, can dribble, pass, and shoot. Um, you know, their families won't be an issue. You know, there's a trust level. There's a trust that, you know, when they send their kids off to Purdue, that they're going to be in good hands. And there's a trust from us too that, like, you know, you're not going to be, you know, calling every day and making sure everything's going all right. Like, it's a kind of a two-way street. So, I think all that stuff's important. And then just having winning qualities. You know, like, do they have a foundation, you know, defensively? Do they have a foundation offensively? Do they take good shots? Like, do they go rebound? You know, a lot of times you'll see kids, you know, 6'5", 6'6", 6'7" in high school, but they don't know how to rebound the basketball yet. And so you look for things that's gonna affect winning. You know, and sometimes, man, like, it's very rare you get freshmen that come in right away and have all that. You know, that's not what we're saying. We're not looking for the perfect player. We've had, just like we've had a lot of good players, you know, we've had players that didn't work out for whatever reason as well. But we do look for certain qualities like that. Are they coachable? You know, and if you don't have those qualities, can you coach them are they able to learn? Like, some people, like, it's hard to learn new stuff and it takes them a long time. Like, do they have the ability to take in information and then go and do it? Like, I think that's really hard for some people. So we look for a lot of different stuff.
No, that makes sense. No, that it's always interesting to hear the perspective on it, how you guys put the education. I still think it's cool how you guys like really care about the education part still, because it just makes a lot of sense. Because one day the it's gonna stop bouncing for everybody. You know what I mean? But I will say you guys just wrapped up Fan Day, and the question I got for you about Fan Day is being on the other side now for the last couple of years at Fan Day. Now you out there leading the scrimmages, you calling the plays. You know what I mean? What was Fan Day like coming off of the Final Four? What is Fan Day like for you now, being on the other side of it, when you once were the guy out there running the suicides and all of that?
Yeah, it's fun just because, like you said, when you've been in it, like, you know how it is during fan day. The guys are tired. You know, I thought our guys showed that. Like, you had a long week of practices. We've had two 6 a.m.s with an hour worth of plays leading up to that point. They had an NIL event.
Shout out
Um,
Kendall Stevens, AJ Hammons.
no doubt. So it's like they're tired, man. And they're tired of playing against each other. And
Thanks.
you competed since June with Rapheal Davis and Bryson Scott and Kendall Stevens and guys that are older, you know, Dakota Mathias, go on and on. When you've competed with the same guy since June, like, and I'm going against Raphael, who's years older than me, I'm trying to, like, I'm getting picked up full court. I got to get my team in offense, but Raphael knows the play. And
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
it's a lot harder. Like, Braden Smith keeps telling, he's done a good job with, like, Jakari and CJ. He keeps telling them, like, this is going to be harder than the games. Like, what you're doing now is harder. Like, I know what's coming, you know, and I'm making it really hard on you guys. The game, it'll open up. You know, a lot of
Mm,
times in practice, it's, you know, a couple trips and then you stop. And then coach
right.
may, you know, if coach get going, he may talk for 5 minutes.
Facts.
It's not flowing, right? Braden Smith isn't able to make the game open up using his speed, getting people shots, getting people easy layups. Um, but when you play in a game like scrimmage, it was different. So I thought our guys, they were a little fatigued, but I think there's also just that eagerness to play somebody else. And it's not going to be perfect when we go play Creighton, but it's a chance for our guys to kind of finally be on one team together. They've done a great job of competing. And I think as a coach, when you're in it, you can be like, dang, like, we're not ready yet.
Right.
But when you kind of look at it as a whole and kind of really understand, and this isn't like my first year of off season of, kind of being through it, player or coach, you know what it looks like right now. It looked like this last year's team.
Mhm.
Um, but when games start, as we keep learning and getting better, things will open up.
And like you said, when you go and play somebody else, like you go play Creighton, obviously it's an exhibition game. It's not going on the record. You guys probably going to play multiple lineups, multiple people, probably a longer bench than you normally would play. What
Right.
are y'all trying to, well, not even just with this one, with the last year against Arkansas, what are you trying to get out of these situations? And even going on the road and taking the trip early in the season, especially when everybody else seems to be scared to get on the plane and go play an exhibition. You know what I mean? And y'all, I paint just Paint just do everything his own way. So what are y'all looking to get out of this, and what should the fans expect, the ones that tune in?
Yeah, we're just kind of looking for those guys to do the stuff we're working on. Like we've been harping on boxing out. Like when the shot goes up, you gotta box out. You know what I mean? Like you gotta look and see if your man's going to rebound. You gotta step to him. You gotta be detailed. Like you can't be afraid to hit people. And then, so boxing out is key. I think Paint's record, if I'm not mistaken, um, when Coach Painter teams out rebound the opponent and we have less turnovers, I think he wins like 91% of his games.
That's crazy.
It's some crazy stat like
Yeah,
that.
that's crazy.
It's a lot of stats in my mind, so I might be a little off, but it's something crazy like that. Like his record
Right.
like is absurd, and so we want to out rebound our opponent. We want to take care of the basketball. Like this team's different. We don't have Zach. Zach can bail you out. Whether it's the end of the clock, early in the clock, middle of the clock. Zach's different, right? Generate. So when you don't have him, you can't replace Zach Edey. So you got to figure out like what can we do better. I think we can take care of the ball better. I still think we can get the same amount of rebounds because we have the size and when the shot goes up, you're supposed to go. If you're supposed to rebound, go rebound. Like that's your job. You know what I mean? And so I think we can still get the same amount of rebounds. I think we could take care of the ball better. And so we're looking for those type of things. Like, and then are we detailed? Like when you're pressuring the ball all off season, we've talked about tracing the basketball, making entry passes difficult because you're tracing the basketball. Um, and from an offensive standpoint, like just our execution, it's not about makes and misses. We're good enough to go make 12 to 15 threes at Creighton. But if we don't, are we still generating good shots because we cut hard, because our timing and sets were good? So we're just looking for guys that have carryover, right? And I think when you have a young group, um, it's crazy, but like when a coach is talking, like understanding, like he's talking to you too. He's not just talking to Ray, like he's talking to everybody. So can you be able to take what a coach is saying, even if he's not talking to you in a drill, and then go do it? We've had some trouble with that because we got all these young dudes.
Yeah.
So it's a teaching, it's a learning curve for those guys, and we're just looking for them to take what we've practiced, man, and then to do it against somebody else.
When you got, because that's a good point. When you have so many young guys, but you're used to such high level success and high level execution, like although Braden and Fletcher were young guys, you still have Mason and Ethan and Zach and all those older guys, Lance, to kind of you set the tone a little bit. Now it's kind of, I guess only you think about it, four upperclassmen, I guess, with Caleb, Trey, Fletch, and Braden.
Yep.
How has that been kind of getting those young guys up to speed? Because like I remember when you came in, your five freshmen came in, we me and AJ, we weren't even up to speed. You know what I'm saying? So it was like we were all kind of on the same playing field. Have you seen that be frustrating to the guys or to coaching staff, or how's that been?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think like eh, it's a fine line. Like I think with some stuff I understand it, right? Like we got guys, man, I got 100 plays in probably, and
Damn.
guys are learning two positions, three positions. Um, but we've also been here since June, right? Like we spent a lot of time on it. We're also waking up at 5 a.m. to run plays at 6 a.m.
You said 100 plays in.
Probably close with,
How many
under,
plays do you think y'all have? Like what you think? Like by the end of the season, like after like you know the wrinkles and everything, what you think y'all got?
oh man, a lot more than that. I mean, I've kind of, shrinked it a little bit because of trying to get them to master this. Now we move on, but I need you to master this first. But it's a
That's
lot of time,
tough.
man. I've been sending
That's
these dudes
tight.
stuff since June. You know what I mean? Like Sasha and I have put things together for these guys to have in June, video. Like I can see how much you're watching it. Coach can see how much you're watching it. So we mentioned,
That's crazy.
losing Mason Gillis. We mentioned losing Zach Edey, Lance Jones, Ethan Morton. Like there's minutes there available, right? Like you dream to come to Purdue to play. Like you dream to put on the jersey to play in front of 15,000 to win championships. Like in order to do that, like you gotta know what's going on. And so like I feel them and I understand it, but like this is a job. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Especially in today's day and age, you guys get paid money to do this. Like, I expect you to know what's going on. You know what I mean? Like, Fletcher knows what's going on. Why shouldn't you?
mm,
Like, you know
for
what I mean?
sure.
Miles, you've been here for a year. Why shouldn't you know as much as Fletch? If you don't naturally know as much, that means you got to put more time in. You know what I
Yep.
mean?
Yep.
Like, that's how I grew up. Like I grew up like you're a 5'10" guard. If you don't do double the work as this guy, you ain't gonna make it. And
Facts.
so while having understanding, because I've been in the system, I know how it's like ran. I know it can be difficult at times, but just with the access we have for extra walkthroughs, extra time after practice, time
Yeah.
during practice, time at 6 a.m. These guys come up and watch film every day. Like there's really no excuse if you want to play. And so those guys that, know what's going on, you know how it is playing for paint. You know what's going on, you're gonna play. He won't
Facts.
take those guys out of the game because he has to have that trust. He's got to trust that you know what's going on. I can't be limited. I can't be put in a box for play calls in a road game in front of 10, 15,000 people because you don't know what's going on. I can only call this. Well, you
Got
put me
it.
in a
Yeah.
box. Now you're affecting our team. And so there's a lot that goes into it, but these guys do a great job of doing extra. And I think when you have the maturity level that these freshmen have, these young guys have, when you're hungry like Will Berg is, when you didn't play your first 3 years in college, when Miles Colvin, like he got DNP, a couple of DNPs last year, like that hurts. It sticks with you. And so
Hmm.
there's a DNP from when I played, it still sticks with me today. You know what I mean? It drives me today. And so when that type of stuff happens and you're a competitor like these guys are, like you're gonna make sure you know what's going on to play. And these guys do a great job. So I'm happy where we are, and I'm excited to keep getting better, man. It's a process. It's a long season.
No, no doubt. And you even hear Payne talk about. I heard him at media day a couple of times say at practice he's going Trey, Braden, Fletch. And he's kind of just surrounding those guys. So, question is to you: when you look at those other two positions, I guess that would be open. Like you said, it's minutes available. Has
Yeah.
anybody kind of jumped out, separated themselves from the pack? Because I mean,
Yeah.
you talk about the young guys having to be up to speed. Like for me, I think like especially, I mean, I think at least three of them are going to have to contribute. I think two of them are going to have to play high minutes. You know what I mean? For you guys to kind of get back to where you guys were. So, has any of the returners guys jumped out? Or any of the freshmen kind of? Because I remember, I love Bass. Bass my guy. But I
Yeah.
remember when Vince Edwards came to campus, it was kind of like, all right, Vince kind of he separated himself.
Yeah.
So, have you seen any of that happen?
Yeah, I think to be completely honest with you, I think when Jakari Harris is with Trey Brayton and Trey Brayton and Fletch, Jakari looks better. I think when Miles Colvin is with those three guys, like he looks better because it's more simple now. Right now, I can play off of people. Right when
Right.
you're on that other group, Miles may be your two, Cam's your three, Caleb first, and your center, and now you got a freshman point, and
Mm,
it's not a lot of experience there, right? So when you don't have a lot of experience, you may try to do more, and sometimes people are better when they do less, and so I think when you play with older guys that have played a lot of minutes, you're naturally going to look better. I think all of our freshmen, I'm not exaggerating. All of our freshmen at one point or another have looked like they need to play this year.
mm,
All of
that's
them.
tough.
Like, the only problem is when you're on a good team, and one thing that coach does a great job with is this isn't a 1 year plan. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Like,
mm,
we're
mm,
investing for your future. Like, he's had times where he's played people very few minutes as a freshman because they probably earned it or maybe it was needed, and they get to be 21, 22 years old, and he's like, man, I wish I had another year of this guy. And
yeah,
so he's not going to trade somebody playing maybe 10 minutes in this game and really affecting the game, and then having 4 or 5 DMPs for he's going to redshirt them, and they're going to have a great career at Purdue because coach does a great job of evaluating and getting the type of people that fits his system. And so all of our guys have stood out, all of them. The thing I like about our group is they're multi-positional. Daniel's different. Daniel can shoot threes. Um, and he's gonna shoot threes. And it's not like something that's gonna be forced. Like, we're teaching him, you got to roll. And when you pop, you got to let everybody know so we can cut and play off of that. But like, I'm going to have stuff in there designed for him to shoot threes because that's the strength of his right now. Um, Riley Burgess is like, you watched that scrimmage in front of the fans the other day. It's like, he looks like he needs to be in that rotation, right? Like,
facts.
he's a really good player. He fits well. He's a complimentary guy. He can play with, there's not one big on our roster where it's like, Riley doesn't fit there. He fits everywhere because he can shoot, he can rebound, he tries to dunk stuff. He's a good passer. It's just about him continuing to learn our system and the intricate stuff within it. Jack Benner's dominated practices at times on that white team because he can pass the ball. He's not the most athletic guy, but he's smart, and that goes a long way. He can dribble, pass, and shoot. And when you can dribble, pass, and shoot, um, and like it makes the game easy. Like, he can really pass the basketball. He was the first player I thought on white that really like helped Wilberg, that like
Mm.
helped Daniel. Because when they're rolling to the basket, he would just put it over the top and make things easy. Now guys see that, they're like, okay, I see it now. And then so I thought he did a great job. Jakari's a dog, it's in his DNA. He's
I
special.
like what you did there.
It is. He's special. He can play point. He can play off the ball. He can really guard the ball, and he's a great kid. He asks a bunch
It's,
of questions.
it's gonna be important for y'all to have somebody that can handle the ball. Like, because like I look at when you look at Fletch, to me, like Fletch is more of like a shooter, more of like a guy that's gonna make shots. You know what I mean? Like, so what? Like when you talk about Jakari, do you see him coming in early, affecting minutes, and not just? I guess when I look at the season, I look at you got your non-conference, you got your conference. Do you see Jakari being able to affect conference games even as a freshman?
Yeah, for sure. He's gonna play a lot for us. He's gonna have to. I think like a lot of times in college, I think CJ's gonna have to play too. Like, CJ's a bucket. I don't know if he's a point. He's a bucket. Like,
I feel you.
he scores the ball. He can get to his pull up. Like, he makes tough ones. He can score. Teaching him other things is like will help him down the line. But like, I tell him, you're not here to pass. Shoot the ball. Score the ball. That's what you do. So, all of our guards are going to play. Like, I think a lot of times in college, man, everyone gets so infatuated with starting. Um,
That's fact.
everyone gets so infatuated with scoring. Um, they don't understand when you go to the NBA, like, unless you're probably a top 5 pick, you're gonna be corner to corner and you're gonna play off the best players. Like, that's the reality of the game. Like, yeah, Zach Edey's gonna have a couple post ups. Zach Edey's gonna, but more so than that, like, Zach Edey's gonna set picks for John Morant and Desmond Bain, and he's gonna play off of that. But a lot of people don't understand, like that's what Zach Edey did in college too. Like he set picks for Braden and we played out of that. We ran like the second most ball screens in the country last year.
Facts.
And so a lot of times when people are watching like from an uneducated eye, Purdue just throws it in the post. No, no, we don't. We ran a lot of ball screens last year. You gotta watch the game. Um, but like yeah, like a lot of times kids get infatuated with starting and stuff, and like you don't always start your best five. You start the five that makes sense, right? And
Right,
so
right,
when you're not the best player on your team, you got to figure out how to fit with the best players on your team. So when we went more with shooting because Zach went with double teams, he required a double. We needed shooting on the floor, you
right.
know. Um, this year's group, how can I fit with Trey Kaufman? How can I fit with Braden? How can I fit with Fletch? Right? That's if I'm the other guys, that's what I would, like have in my mind. And I would do my best to do that. And so like how can I fit with those guys? And that's what they should be thinking. And that'll help our team grow. And so a lot of times kids get infatuated with like, man, I should be starting. No, like I don't you see those guys at Kentucky? Like I don't think Reed Shepherd and Dillingham started every game, but they in the best league in the world right now. They got drafted pretty high. So it's not about that. It's about production and fit. And I think our guys understand that and it's impressive because they're so young.
Devin Booker came off the bench at Kentucky that year.
Right.
That shit
Right.
was crazy. When you talk about your offense, and then with Zach leaving, obviously it changes a little bit. But like you said, you guys weren't just sitting there throwing it in the post. I mean, it wasn't that every time down the trip. Does it stay the same with Trey Kaufman Ren? Do you want to play more five out? Is it more four around one? Is you
Yeah.
look around the Big Ten, like everyone's everyone wants to play small, but you look at Indiana's going to play too big, Maryland going to play too big, Wisconsin's going to play two 7-footers, Michigan's going to play two 7-footers.
Right.
Have have you guys based the offense more around what you guys are doing, or looking around the league and saying, well, everybody's getting bigger, we got to compete there too?
Yeah, I think it's like something that's like known but not said. Like we don't sit up in a meeting and be like, man, Indiana's gonna do this and Michigan's gonna do that. So we gotta be prepared. Like I think we all know that. And so we prepare different ways. Like we're gonna play big. Like Trey Kaufman can't just play the five the whole time. I think if he
Right,
played five the whole time, I think we would be unbelievable offensively. It's not realistic. It's more to the game than offense, right? Rebounding,
right,
like keeping him out of foul trouble. Go down the line, right? I think we prepare right now to play both ways, right? There's times where we play smaller. There's times in practice where we play big. We have a lot of guys that are multi-positional. Miles can play the two. Miles can play the three. Jakari can play the one. He can play the two. He can play the three. Trey Kaufman can play the four, the five. Everyone's pretty multi-positional outside of our 7-footers. They're going to play the center the whole time.
right,
But from an offensive standpoint, we're going to play different ways. So getting guys to understand that, right? When Trey Kaufman's in a pick and roll situation, stay away. He's a
right.
short roll type of guy. We want to create space. We don't want your man, pulling in and tagging,
Yeah,
right? We want to keep your man away from the play. And now he has to make a decision. Is he going to stay home with a 40% shooter? Or is he gonna do his job and tag on the pick and roll? And
yeah,
now we can play in that short roll, right? That's understanding Trey Kaufman though. When it's a 7-footer, you can't feel behind the ball enough, right? Now it's making them make a different decision. And then no matter what we do, trying to get these guys to understand spacing. I think in college, a lot of college kids, it's tough for them to understand spacing. It's okay to stay in the corner just because we run motion don't mean you gotta just run around and do nothing, right? It's okay to just be in the corner and relax and let action develop, let action come to you instead of always searching for action. And now we're on top of each other and we're not using the whole court. So really trying to teach these guys more principles because I think we have the skill set and we have the talent to play. But it
yeah.
doesn't matter your skill set or talent if you're going to be on top of each other and you don't understand spacing or if you don't understand letting the plays develop um, and letting good players play in space, understanding it's going to open it up for you, right? But a lot of times in college, people are so thirsty to get the ball, get involved in the action, get a catch, come off a screen instead of letting the screener come get you and you in the corner. You want to
Right.
creep up to the free throw line extended. Now our court is smaller. So just trying to get these guys to understand that type of stuff. And then when we do, we have the talent level to put the defense in a bind, but don't make it harder on yourself. So
Yeah, that makes sense. And you talking about getting the guys to understand. And before I let you get out of here, Pete, you go from the player development role, obviously, to assistant coach. But when you're in that player development role, you had a freshman come in. He was not ranked in the top 100. He wasn't a 4-star. He wasn't a 5-star. He's Westfield, Indiana. It was Braden Smith. And now Braden Smith is not just a hell of a player, but he's a preseason All-American. He's the preseason player of the year in the Big Ten. What has that development, that relationship been like between the two of you? Because I know, like, I can remember when I came to summer his freshman year, y'all were just over there talking. I was like, okay, this makes a lot of sense. And then I see some of the ball screen reads. I'm like, oh shit, this is Pete. And then I
yeah,
see I go to practice and I see you telling him to look for his game, and Zach is on the floor. So it's
yeah.
kind of what has that been like? Where has you seen his game grow? And even off of this off season, where do you see his game taking that next step?
Yeah, man. Braden and I think we have about as good of a relationship, player and coach as you can have. It's bigger than that. Braden's like my little brother. Just as all these guys are. I have a unique relationship with everyone. Braden and we think the same on the court. We're both competitive. We may show it in different ways, but we're both that same type of competitive. Um, and he's helped me just as much as I've helped him. Like he's a special kid. He's 101. We're not gonna have a lot of Braden Smiths walk through the door. And as a coach, I understand that. I think he's gonna play in the NBA a long time. I think that can be one similar to Zach Edey. Like you can watch Zach Edey play, you can overthink it. This ain't hard, fellas. He can play in that league. Don't overthink it. Like same thing with Braden Smith. Yes, he's small. I watch the NBA every day. Like I got league pass. I'm about to get a lot less sleep because I'm gonna watch the NBA all night every day. But I promise you, he can play in the NBA for as long as he wants. He's that good. We have a great relationship. He's taught me some things. There's some things that he has that I can't help him with. He just got it. Some people just have it. He just has it. Um, the development has just been like, okay, like you don't have Zach Edey. Are you going to be patient enough to work with Will Berg? Are you patient enough to work with Daniel? Like it's your job to get the best out of them. Um, like it's your job to be competitive and fiery, but you got to lead. You can't be emotional. You got to play with emotions, but you can't be emotional. And when you're so competitive like he is, and you're so wired, like the world, it's me against the world. That's the mentality he has. That's what makes him great. Um, I let it go because it's what makes him special. I let him know every day. I think he's the best point guard in the country. There's nobody I'd rather have and coach, and I try to give him that confidence. But I'm also real enough with him to let him know, like, if you don't play defense and you just want offense and you think the NBA is about to just give you the ball and let you rock, like you're out of your mind. Did you watch the games? What was TJ McConnell doing? Picked up full court. What was the pace? They picked up full court every game. You got to guard somebody. And so when you have a program though, where guys like Jay and Ivy come back and they play open gym with your guys, and Braden Smith he matches up with Jaden, and and they go at it, and then they work out together. I think it gave him more confidence too, that I can do it and I gotta be able to do both. And so I think I think he's grew in that area, defensively, and then um offensively, man, it's his show. He's gonna score more. Um, he's gonna get assists. I don't know if it'll be the same, but depends what people do, right? If people, there's gonna be different things they do. I don't know if we'll see as much drop as we saw last year. People may get more aggressive, right? Well, if people get more aggressive, do you trust your teammates to get it out of your hands and let them play advantage basketball, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to mentally prepare him for that. And so when he gets frustrated in practices, like I try to reel it in and teach. And he's so competitive and fiery. Sometimes he don't like that right away. But with the relationship he has, like, and the relationship we have, he knows it's for the better. And there's probably more days where he gets mad at me than not, but it's supposed to be that way, right? You were a great leader at Purdue. Like there were more days as a young guy we were mad at you, but we still on this podcast and you 30 something years old, I'm 28 years old, and we're still brothers, we're still friends. You know what I mean? But you're as a leader, it ain't supposed to be like the guys aren't supposed to be just like happy with you all the time. You got to do hard
Right.
stuff as a leader. And so that's one thing you taught me at Purdue. And now I can carry it on to guys, now in this coaching role. So
No, facts. I remember vividly one day in Cardinal Court you wanted to fight me. You said, Ray, stop fucking playing with me. You play too fucking much.
that sounds about right.
You said, Ray, oh, that's funny, but no, you're right. No, you're right. And B, this last thing I got for you, man, because this has been great, is you guys got something to do, a chance to do something special. And I asked Bloom about it, and we talked in Lou Jack and all of that, and you guys could win back to back to back Big Ten championships. And it's something that hasn't been done not just at Purdue in a while, but in the Big Ten since Purdue did it when it was Brantley and Conzo and those dudes in the 90s. And you hear Brantley talk about it all the time. And I go back to, I think y'all should have went back to back, which would have eventually went three-peat then. So is this something y'all actively talk about in the locker room? Do the guys even know that your team should have went back to back? You know what I mean? Because I remember Brantley's talked to us about it. So
Yeah.
what has that conversation been like?
Yeah, the guys know the history, of Purdue. Man, these guys are different too. They got this confidence and, it starts with Braden and Fletch and TK. Like they got this confidence too that they don't care. Like they focused on their own journey. You know what I mean? Like these guys put in the work. They know what's at stake. It's what drives those guys. As good of friends they are with Zach, the people on Twitter and stuff and the media, the fans, like that's what drives these guys. Like they hear it and it bothers them.
Braden don't follow me, man. Hurt my feelings.
Exactly, right?
He ain't
Like
talked to me at media day.
no, like that's the type, like that's what that's who these guys are, right? And so that's like perfect example. Like it bothers these dudes like to the core. And so I think we don't even got to tell them about, B's group and, my group. Like they got it on their own. And whether we go do it or not, man, that's up to us, that's here. Right. But they're at least driven and they if we can't, if our stories can't drive you, something has to. And I think like the media and what people said about Purdue and how they don't think these guys are that good without Zach Edey. Like it drives them. I know you didn't say that, but yes, you know what I mean.
No, but I did say that Rutgers had the best backcourt in the league, which I mean, as of right now, y'all two guard is still under question. Y'all don't have a two
Right.
guard. So if Lance Jones is not there no more. So if
Right.
Fletch slides down to the two and Cam or Miles step up in the three, or if Jakari comes in at the
Right.
two and plays well, unless Fletcher and Braden weren't a backcourt. So I mean, hey man,
Right.
I
No,
and then two. We can always have 2-on-2. No, I'm just talking shit. No, but
it's
I feel it. That's what you
amazing.
gotta have that. We didn't have that. We didn't have that in that locker room. We didn't have like dudes didn't know what was going on, dudes didn't care what was going on. We just had dudes coming in just going about the way. And then y'all group kind of changed that. That's why I always remind people, everybody in the class ahead of me transferred. Everybody in my class except AJ left. Then
Hmm.
everybody in the class after me left. And the only reason everybody in the class after me left was because y'all came in and pretty much pushed them out. You know what I mean? So no, and then since then, y'all have had that time because it used to bother Biggie. It used to
Yeah.
bother Biggie. You couldn't say shit that Biggie not knew. You know what I mean? So no, I get it. And that's what makes them dudes great. It has to.
I do mess with them. I tell them our groups would have, man, we would have got with them. I tell them I be messing with them every day, every day.
No, y'all would have beat them. Y'all would have beat this group.
Hey,
This
they be trying to run the Coach Paint. Coach Paint, who you? I don't care what Coach Paint got to say. He ain't playing.
I put Bloom on the spot. I put Bloom on the spot too. I asked him that too. He didn't want to say, but I mean, y'all. Me and Lou Jack talk about it all the time. I think y'all group is crazy underlooked at especially you think about Isaac. It was this point in the season when Vince was coming off the bench with that 2017 group.
It
Like
was.
Vince had a part off the bench. Isaac had a part off the bench. Carson Edwards was a baby. Like
Yeah.
then that next season, oh, if y'all didn't have it, I still remember that little 3-game skid y'all had. I was so shitty. I was at my apartment.
And it
Yeah, I
was
remember
it
that.
was 2 game winners at the buzzer.
I remember that. Oh, that was crazy.
Now, I
Damn.
always said that group, I mean, obviously that 2017 group, I thought Kansas was better than us. I didn't think they were 30 points better than us. I thought they were better though.
Yeah.
My senior year group, I think it was one of the better teams he's had for
Oh,
sure.
the senior year group. I put that group with the
Yeah.
with the 2010 group.
And it's like,
That's the
and
game I want to see.
think about it's amazing. That's the cool part about basketball. Like, it's amazing how quickly it changes. Like, we weren't running this type of stuff when I played here. We
No.
was running motion. And then
Box five.
we was running box 55. We was throwing it in. Like if there was any play call, it's like, oh, I know I'm entering it. I'm going to the left corner and I'm about to chill. And then you go on Twitter, man, if Purdue had a point guard, they'd be, what? Are you
Yeah. We had 3 ball screen plays, and it was all the same set.
bro,
It was either Dakota out of the corner, it was Vince at the back screen, or I set the down screen.
it's amazing how quickly it changes. Now it's like we ran the second most in the country, or Braden was in the second most in the country. I gotta see which
That's
one it is.
crazy.
Crazy, right?
That's crazy. No, it's
Crazy.
exciting. No, wait, what's I don't want to keep you, man, but I gotta ask, what's it been like leading the offense? What's
It's been
that?
dope.
Because now you got it in your hands. It's in your hands completely.
Yeah.
Has it been? Is that something you enjoy doing, leading the offense? Is that something you love watching the film and all of that?
Oh yeah. I mean, you know me, man. I'm a basketball guy. I don't care what it is, overseas, WNBA. I was locked in. That was one of the better finals series that I remember in a while. I was telling my girlfriend that during the we were watching it, and like Minnesota and New York, it was lit. Like, and I hate people just like they won't watch the games and they'll be like, I'm not watching that, or like they'll go
Yeah,
I saw a clip, it was like 3 straight air balls, like, and they put that on Twitter, and I'm like, but they saying these girls can't hoop. I'm like, we just had 3 air balls in a row at practice. So y'all gonna say we can hoop? Like, what are we talking about, bro? Like Coach Payne literally that same day was like, and let's go. Can we go a couple up and downs without freaking air ball? But like, it's basketball, man. You go air ball. Like the WNBA series, it was high level. It's just I hate when people just are just ignorant. It drives me crazy. I like laugh at it, but nah, it was cool, man. I was excited. It was a unique opportunity just because I wasn't an assistant coach. I was player development. I worked with Terry for a couple of years and I learned a lot and helped him. My job was to teach it to him, when he got here. Um, but
that's
like the
dope.
role, I wasn't on the court the whole time, so it sucked. Like
Yeah,
I was in practice, I was with Nick T on the scoreboard, like taking notes and trying to find my way as far as getting the type of effect on the team that I knew I could have. I just couldn't according to the rules. Um, and so when we lost to uh Farley Dickinson and they told me, we are gonna switch some stuff up, like sign me up, man. I was excited. Obviously, I knew the type of team we had. I knew there was some pressure because of, those 3 losses we had in the tournament. Um, those years. And then, I'm 27 years old. I got to run offense, right? So we had a good team. It helps. And I'm excited to keep learning. I love getting better. I learn every day from these coaches. I got these guys, we have a great staff and a lot of experience. A lot of ideas get bounced off each other. And I talk to people, man. I like to learn. So I'm always learning off of from other people. Coach Paint makes fun of me. He'll give me books and I just don't like reading it, but he gives me books all the time to read and a couple times he's made it even easier for me. He's let me read his notes and stuff, which has been pretty cool. So we're always looking to learn and get better and it's cool when you have a boss that like doesn't have an ego like other people to where he lets you like rock. Like he's not micromanaging me. Like Coach Paint ain't really like we'll collab on some stuff, but like he's not like hovering over me. Like he lets me rock. Which allows me to make mistakes, which allows me to then fix it and learn. Um, and that's all you can ask for. Like, and he's still learning. So when a Hall of Fame coach that you work for, played for, is still learning, like, what's your excuse? You know, that's how I feel. And so he's still getting better in ways where like he doesn't have to. He's gonna retire here. He's gonna be a Hall of Famer one day. Um, and you know, I got to play for him and coach with him. So it's a pretty cool gig, man. And it's like, you know, I get to do things like this, like be on the Zoom with my guy who I was doing Navy SEAL training with, you know, in the
Oh shit, Navy
training,
SEAL.
in
Missing the
the
Q party. Oh man, the sand. It's jumping in. Oh, I remember I never jumped off the dive. I did jump off. It took a while. I jumped off the diving board.
You did, you did, you did. Hey,
Shit was crazy.
I remember we was telling a story the other day. We was at Paint's house. And remember Neil Bashir's? So he's on the ground, bro. And the Navy SEAL dude, he kicked the sand right in front of his face when he was on the ground. I'm like, yo, these kids don't have no idea. They don't do conditioning. They don't know what we were
Man,
going through. They have
man,
no.
what me and Vince just talked about that. AJ got hit with a head with a log. I remember that shit. Well, I remember what we used to do the mile, whether you made it or not, and then come in and run sevens back to back. Like what? Like
I can't remember if it was your junior year or senior. I remember one time we was running sevens in Mackey, and AJ just kept running through the tunnel and didn't come back. AJ just kept running through the tunnel. And like we was just like, what? He didn't come back though. Like he just didn't come back. Hey, things have changed.
oh, that's funny as hell, man. Oh, that's funny. But no, Pete. Oh man, I appreciate you enjoying it. It's dope to watch you go through the process and to kind of document it a little bit. I'm not saying Payne gonna get out of there anytime soon by any means, but my dream is that it's long enough and short enough, however it is, that it's a nice little transition into Coach PJ Thompson, the next coach at Purdue University. So, my man, it's and to be leading the number one offense in the country is crazy. Like that makes me feel like, damn, PJ knew what he was talking about when he was playing. I should have probably listened more. I'd have scored more points. But nah, you get Creighton this weekend. I hope y'all safe travels out there. Play hard, get a win, and then I'm looking forward to the season getting going on the fourth, bro. I appreciate you joining.
Nah, man, appreciate you having me. We'll wrap soon.
All right, cool. Appreciate you, bro. Until next time, Talkin Hoops with Rapheal Davis. Boiler up, hammer down.
All right, brother.